If you work in marketing or SEO, I know that you've got these problems. You have to look at a lot of data sets, but they're all kind of fragmented. You might be looking at Google Analytics to see how the traffic is performing on your website. You'll need to look at Google Search Console to see, well, how is the website performing on the search engine network? And you probably have another SEO tool that is way too expensive that you need to use for keyword research, backlink analysis, and all these things. Data and tools that you need if you want to succeed in the day and age of AI search engines. The problem that this is all kind of fragmented. These data sets don't really talk to each other, so you don't get a clear picture of what's going on. Now, yes, you can kind of connect all these things with something like Google Looker Studio. This is a template that we give to our community members, but even better, you can create an incredibly powerful, what I like to call SEO Command Center with Claude Code. Where using MCPs, we can connect all the data from Google Search Console, Google Analytics, and even DataForSEO, or your preferred SEO data provider, so that Claude Code has a bird's eye perspective and has a whole picture. It can tell you exactly what you need to do to rank #1 in the AI search engines because you have good data from everywhere. This is going to allow you to create complex tasks from an SEO perspective and complex analysis in a matter of seconds, saving you hours and saving you so much money. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through step-by-step connection of all of this. And don't worry if you've never written a line of code, I'm going to give you the prompts that you just need to give Claude Code and it's going to do everything. And then I'm going to show you the incredible things that this thing can actually do. So let's get to it. Now, what I recommend that you do is you open up and create a folder in your desktop or wherever you want to work with this here. I find that it's a little bit better if you keep everything organized in a folder. I'm going to do mine in the desktop. I'm going to call it SEO Command Center Tutorial. Now for this video, I'm going to assume that you already have Claude Code installed. If you haven't done that, check out a video that I'll leave in the description below that shows you how to do this. So we can go ahead and you can right click the new folder that you generated and we're going to go new terminal, add folder. This is going to bring up something that looks like this. Let me make this a little bit bigger and we're going to call Claude Code by going Claude. Now with that done, we need to get a couple of requirements. First thing you'll need to do is get yourself an account on Google Cloud Console. We need this because we need to verify this connection from Claude Code into our Google Analytics 4 and Google Search Console. It might seem a little bit complicated, but trust me, it is very, very simple. And I'm going to give you a very easy way to do this. So once you create an account, which is free, what I recommend you do is you go to the top left-hand corner and you'll see here a button called New Project. Start a brand new project. And let's call this, for example, Claude Code MCP Google Data, right? Something that is going to be very easy to recognize. You need to connect it to a billing account, although you won't use any billing here, but that's just kind of something that you got to do. I'm going to create this here. Perfect. Now we need to accept to this new project the connection for Google Analytics 4, which is very easy to do. And we start this connection by copying a prompt, and I'll leave this in the video description below. I just wanted to get ready a document that you can simply copy and paste. If you go to step number 2, there's a prompt here that says, I want to install the official Google Analytics MCP. So I can query my data for Claude Code, and you just copy this prompt here, which is the second prompt, the whole thing here. The first one, if you're using Claude Code from the start, you can kind of tell it to create a folder, but I've already done that manually. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go back to the Claude Code instance here. Remember, this is activated within the folder that we created, right? And it's just going to get it to install a couple of the requirements, predominantly the one that is called pipex. The good thing here is that you don't have to do any of the commands or anything with this prompt. Claude Code should do everything for you. You just have to accept a couple of the requirements. For example, it told me that it's already installed, so it's kind of running everything here. Perfect. Now, in the prompt, I've instructed it to tell you kind of what the next steps are because there is a bit of a manual component, but we'll do this together. What we need to do is essentially enable a lot of the analytics here from Google Search Console. We need to go to Quick Access, API, and Services here and into Select a Project. So I've got the project selected up here. You need to make sure that you've got that selected. You're going to enable API and services, and we need to look for the APIs that we want to enable. And all we need to go is Google Analytics hit enter, and we need to enable these two, the admin, Google Analytics admin API and the Google Analytics data API. And enabling them is extremely easy. We're just going to go to this one and we're going to go to enable. So we have the Google Analytics admin API enabled. Now we need the other Google Analytics enabled as well, which was the analytics, I believe. You're just going to go to back here. Again, we can go to enable API services. We're going to go to Google Analytics. And we've installed the first one. We need the Google Analytics data API enabled. We're going to enable this guy. So now the MCP, when we connect it with Claude Code, should have access to the admin and the data as well. Now we want to go back to the project itself. And here we want to search for authorization. You're going to select the first one, which is Google Auth Platform. I know this seems scary, but all we're getting here is a client ID in a JSON file that we can just give to Claude, and therefore it'll have all the kind of keys that it needs to access this. I'm going to get started here. So I've clicked on client, get started. The app name, we're just going to go Claude Code MCP Google Data. You don't have to name it that. Support email, I'm just going to use mine. Going to go next. We can just use the internal. We're not going to give this to anyone else. Perfect. Email address, I'm going to provide mine. I'm going to finish and create. Cool. Perfect. Now you see this overview here. Now again, we want to go to clients. We're going to create a client. The application type is just going to be a desktop application. And the name is going to be, again, Claude Code MCP Google Data, and going to create. Perfect. I'm going to download this JSON file when you get a pop-up. And what I want you to do is place that JSON file into this folder, so that Claude Code can then access this when it needs to, and it has all the credentials to make it easy for it to kind of verify itself. It's a client secret key. Perfect. Okay, next you want to go back to the prompts that I've provided, and in the third prompt here, you need to select this one, and it's very simple. It says, I've completed the Google Cloud setup for GA4, which we just did, and we placed that JSON file in that folder as well, so we should be able to find it. And now we're just going to paste the property ID. So to do this, you want to go to Google Analytics. On the property that you want to kind of do this in, you want to go to admin, and the property ID, once you go to property details, is this guy here. I'll blur that out for security purposes, but I'm just going to copy this and paste it in right here. Great. I'm going to copy now that full prompt, go back to Claude Code, the Claude Code that is inside here, and hit enter. It's going to take a little while. It might ask me to kind of approve a couple of things as well. Cool, it's asking to create the MCP file that it needs because it's got all the credentials there as well. I'm going to accept that. And essentially now that Google Analytics for MCP should be installed, but you see that it's asking us to kind of restart Claude Code in this folder to kind of actually activate it. To restart it, you don't need to close the terminal. All you got to do is go /exit. And now in that same terminal, you're going to go to Claude to activate it. I'm going to go to yes. If I go /MCP to see my MCP service, I should see here that I've got my Google Analytics connected. So let's give it a go and see here. Using the Google Analytics MCP, can you see and give me a rundown of what the traffic has been over the past 5 days and where the source has come from that traffic to the website? Now we're kind of getting somewhere really exciting, right? Yeah, we just need to approve the summaries. Beautiful. Okay, now it's giving me a summary of all the traffic sources for the website, a daily breakdown of the past 5 days, how many sessions, direct, Google Organic, a referral website, Bing, ChatGPT, Google Paid. You get the idea. It's even giving you some key insights. So perfect. The first data set connected, well done. That was probably the tricky one. So the next one we need to connect now is the Google Search Console MCP. Now, what I'm just going to do here is the same thing. I'm going to exit this because I don't want it to kind of have the information from this conversation when we're installing the Google Search Console MCP. So I'm just going to go /exit, and I'm going to start it again here. Go to Claude. Perfect. Okay. So now if I take a look at the Google Doc that I provided, in step 3, it's installing the Google Search Console to Claude Code. And here's the prompt. And this is going to get you to connect or download a GitHub repo, which is fine. I've tested it before and it works very, very well. So I'm going to copy this, go back to Claude Code and paste this guy in here, and it's going to do its thing. Again, you're going to have to approve a couple of the actions that it needs to take. That's quite all right. It's cloning the MCP repository, which is what you'll need. Yes, I'm just going to ask it to don't ask me again for cloning things from GitHub. Okay, so now it looks like it installed all the requirements and the MCP connections. Now we just need to create the same authentications that we did before in Google Cloud for Google Analytics 4, but for Google Search Console. So let's see if we can do the same thing here. You can see that it gives you the exact place where we're going to place that new secret file, but for Google Search Console. I hope this is making sense. If you have any questions, make sure you leave it in the comments. So we're going to go to the same project that we were working on. Perfect. We want to go to be on the same project here for Google Code, Claude Code MCP, the same one you did before for Google Analytics. What we want to do is stop searching here, and we want to search for API services, enable API services, and we're going to search for Google Search Console. And we've got one API, which makes things nice and easy. I'm going to select that. We're going to enable it. So we should have the API for Google Search Console enabled. Now we need to create the kind of same credentials, but for this service, Google Search Console. We can go to credentials here. We can go up here to create credentials. We're just going to go to auth client ID. That's nice and easy. Again, we're going to follow the same thing, application type. We're going to go desktop application. So again, here we're going to name it Claude Code MCP Google Search Console, and I'm going to create. Again, this is going to bring you a pop-up, and it's going to give you another JSON file. We're going to download this one. And if we look at the recommendations here, where we need to save it to is the Desktop SEO Command Center, MCP, Google Search Console, GSC secret client. And it's got that here. Boom, MCP, and perfect. We're going to place that new one here. I'll just go to my downloads folder here. Boom. Okay, now that credential file is in the folder as you said. I can kind of tell it to like, hey, the file is there, check it. Let me see if I've done things correctly. And in this way, I don't have to be kind of a coding wizard, but it's going to do it for me, and it can even troubleshoot it for me. Okay, and ideally you see some sort of confirmation done. The Google Search MCP has been added to your Claude configuration. It's checking all the MCPs at the moment. Perfect. So let's see, it's now connected and ready. So this is where it's slightly different, right? So it's important. The first time you use the Google Search Console tool, you will need to verify it, and a window will pop up, right? So let's see if we can do that now. See, actually, I'm just going to verify. I might have to restart Claude here again. MCP. Okay, so I'm going to go exit to restart it. I'm going to go to start it up again, Claude. Perfect. I'm going to go to MCP, and you see that it's not connected there. It's there, the project is MCP, but we need to verify it. So I'm going to say, can you check the Google Search Console MCP and take a look at a profile of a website that's called BPC Technology and show me the overall traffic over the past 5 days. Okay, so it's having trouble, and that's because I'm not following my own instructions. From 5 years, I've completed the setup. Here's the things that you need to do. So all you need to do is also paste the file name of the secret key for Google Search Console. So we're going to go back to the folder here, and I just need to copy this name so it doesn't get confused. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to copy this. And I did all this work into doing the instructions, and I'm not following them. That's why you should follow the instructions. Human error at its finest. Okay, now we're looking a little bit better. It's going to edit that little file using the right things that it needs to. Okay, so now let's see if we're actually done this correctly. We're going to follow the instructions and cancel Claude Code again by pressing exit, /exit, and we're going to go to Claude. Now with Claude open, we're going to go /MCP, hit enter. Okay, now the Google Search Console one is done, right? It's installed. You can see there it's connected, which is perfect. Okay, so now let's try it out again. Take a look at the Google Search Console MCP. There should be a property there under the name of BPC Technology. Let me know what is the traffic for that website over the past 5 days and which was the key term that brought the most traffic. Now, the first time that you try to log in or activate it, you should see this pop up and it's asking you to verify it. You only have to do it once, and you see here that it's continue to Claude Code MCP Google Data. That's the project that we've set up. I'm going to select the right account. I'm going to go to allow. Perfect. Now the authentication flow has been completed. Hopefully, if we go back here, it's tinkering. Authorization has been completed successfully. Let me verify if a token was created. And again, a bit of a setup, but trust me, this is the only time that you'll have to do this. And now it's gone back to my original request of looking at a website, and it's found the right one, and it's going through the past 5 days of showing me the overall traffic from Google Search Console and the queries. So here, perfect. Now we got it as I'm speaking. Here is the technology, the traffic over the past 5 days, just from the search engine network, because we're looking at Google Search Console. The keywords is all BPC tech related, apart from RTX 4090. Amazing. So we're nearly there. Now we just need to connect one more thing, which is the DataForSEO. Actually, these two are kind of enough, but I like to take it one step further as well. So if we look at our installation guide here for DataForSEO, you definitely don't need this, but it's so cheap and it's so easy to do that I recommend it because it adds another really important kind of data set to this. So if we see here, we're asking it with prompt 6 to install the DataForSEO MCP. Right? We need a couple of credentials though. So if you sign up to DataForSEO, I'll leave a link to this below. You get $1 free credit, which actually goes a long way for DataForSEO. You're going to log in. If you join our community, you actually get $5 free credit, which goes even a longer way for this with DataForSEO. We have a bunch of kind of deals with DataForSEO for this. But with the account connected, I'm going to go to API access. I'm going to go send by email. You need that API password, right? I'm going to hide that password for security purposes, but I'm going to copy that email. I'm going to go back to the prompt that I was using. And I'm going to fill it out here. You need the username, and it's the same username that you kind of generated here, that you created the account with. Then you need the password. And I'm going to blur this out, but you need to paste it right here. And I'm going to now go back to my Claude Code and paste it all in here. Again, this should take a while. This configuration doesn't need as many authentications. Google makes things a little bit tricky. This one's the easiest one. So let's see. You're gonna have to again accept a couple of things here. Yes, allow, and I'll come back when this is all done. You can see again, it's all been verified because it's so easy. I didn't have to do and download some tricky JSON file. But again, I need to kind of reset it. So I'm gonna go exit, and then I'm gonna go Claude, activate it again, so kind of reset everything. And let's double check MCP. And now I've gone DataForSEO, which is already connected. I've got Google Analytics, which is already connected, and Google Search Console. So well done. If you've gotten this far, I know that was a little bit tricky, but trust me, this is so incredible. This tool that you have now is very, very powerful. Now, before we get into anything, you also can create these skills here. And if you've got the front-end design skills, you can create incredible kind of reports as well here. But let's leave it there. What I'm going to do is run a prompt here to see if everything's working, right? So I'm going to say something like, give me an SEO performance snapshot for my website, AI ranking. From Google Search Console, show me the top 10 performing queries, clicks from the past, let's say 28 days. From Google Analytics, show me the top 10 landing pages by sessions over the past 28 days. And from DataForSEO, use the #1 query from my Google Search Console that isn't my brand name, and give me some keyword data for that query, including search volume, difficulty, and maybe what I should write so I rank higher in there. Give me a report with actionable recommendations. Now, this is going to take a while, but just have a think of what I'm doing here, which is kind of nuts when we think about it. We're getting Google Search Console, Google Analytics, and DataForSEO to give us an overall perspective of what's happening. Let me show you the output because it's going to be amazing. Now, let's take a look here. I've got a pretty incredible report, and I know it's not nice reading things in terminal, but don't worry, I've got a solution here for you. So it's got all of the things here. So best ChatGPT personality is one of the things that's doing well for me. The best sessions, it's looked at Google Search Console, Google Analytics, key metrics here. Oh, there's some search volume for the personality prompts. Amazing. So it's giving me some actionable items to update the title tag and a bunch of things here, fix the local domination bounce rate page, and a bunch of things here, leverage your high engagement pages. I've got a lot of free resources. Great. Let me show you how I take this thing a step further. Right now, if you're creating a lot of kind of clients in here, you can ask it to structure the folder in a good way that's going to make sense because you've got a lot of clients here and there. We're going to go through that a lot in our community, but let me show you why this is so incredible. If you've got any skills installed, I would recommend you install the front-end design skill. I've done a few videos about this, but let me show you why this is so cool. Can you turn this into an interactive, well-designed HTML report? Use the front-end design skill to do that. And I'm going to hit enter and let me show you the output. Okay, now we have the report created and I opened it up in my browser and take a look at this. This is a report that has Google Search Console, Google Analytics, the top keyword, the search volume, the related keywords to target because I'm doing so well in them, the actionable recommendations in a beautiful, if I may say so myself, template and a report. Now, that's just reporting. You can do a million other things here. You can get it to understand why your pages aren't getting indexed, so they're not being found by Google, what you should work on, have a look at your competitors because you can analyze your competitors thanks to that DataForSEO connection. You can do a million things. Really, the world is your oyster from an SEO perspective. I think this is probably the most effective way to do SEO in the future, particularly if you have a subscription with Claude Code. If you're having troubles in how to connect this at all, I recommend you might check out our community, AI Ranking. I'll leave a link below. We are creating these types of tutorials, these type of strategies every day. We keep it updated as much as we can because really you have to stay updated if you actually want to stay visible in the world of AI search engines. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment below. Peace.